Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. This Shabbos is Chai Elul. Chai Elul, the Caretaker Rabbi says that Chai Elul gives a Chayes, a Lebedigkeit in the month of Elul. And there are 12 days from Chai Elul till Rosh Hashanah. Yom LaChodesh. There are 12 months in the year, so every day we do tshuva for a month. For example, a Sunday we do tshuva for the Chodesh Cheshvan, a Monday for Chodesh Kislev, and so on. Also, Chai Elul is the birthday, the Yom Holedes of the Baal Shem Tov and of the Alter Rebbe. And as you read the Caretaker Rebbe's Sichos, and it's very important to read that day, Chai Elul, when the Alter Rebbe was born, the Baal Shem Tov made a Suda, and then the Neshama came down to this world, and you can always look it up in the Sichos of the Caretaker Rebbe. Also, Chai Elul is the yahrzeit of the Maharal Miprog. The Alter Rebbe comes from the Maharal Miprog. And we know that the Maharal Miprog comes from David HaMelech. So the Rebbe comes from the Alter Rebbe. So the Rebbe comes from David HaMelech, David Malka Mashiach. So since this week is the yahrzeit of the Maharal, so I want to share with you a fascinating story. And the Rebbe looked over this story and he said we should write it down. A story that Rabbi Mindel heard from the Shamish of the Shul, of the Maharal Shul, in the year 1969. I remember the Shamish, and I remember he was in the Shul with Rabbi Mindel. He started to tell him the story, but then Rabbi Mindel asked him to come home to his house later, and he wants to sit down with him and tell him the whole story. So I didn't hear the complete story while he was telling Rabbi Mindel. But I remember he started to say the story. But before I tell you the story, and by the way, the end of this program, I will tell you what the Rebbe said about the Maharal and about the Golem, and what a Godel B'Yisrael said. So, my wife and I, a few weeks ago, we went to Prague, and we saw the oldest shul in Europe. That's the Maharal Shul. Many religious Jews, many non-religious Jews, many Goyim lahavdil go there every single day, thousands. And you can see that they know, even lahavdil Goyim know, that in the attic, there's something there holy, there's a Golem there. Even the Goyim know, and they believe it. But I do want to say, unfortunately, the talk we had with many frum religious Jews, some of them have doubts whether the Maharal ever made the Golem. And that's why at the end of this program, I want to tell you what the Rebbe said and what a Godel B'Yisrael said about the Maharal with the Golem. So now I want to read to you the story that this Shamish, the caretaker, spiritual caretaker, used to prepare Kiddushim in the Maharal Shul. He used to put away the Sfarim. So he said like this: this shul is called Alt Nai Shul, old new shul. Why is it called old? Because that shul was built in the 13th century. This was years ago, and there was no other shul. So it was called a new shul, Nai Shul. Then in the 16th century, it was already years later, and more shuls were built. So the shul was called Alt Shul. So they call it Alt Nai Shul, Old New Shul. Excuse me, I have a cold. So another reason why the shul is called Al Tanai. Al Tanai means Al Tanai, under condition. Tanai means condition. After the Churban Bayis Rishon, the destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash, the Shlomo HaMelech built, the stones, some of the stones were brought into Prague, and the shul was built with those stones. And the people said, when it was built, they said that Al Tanai, on the condition that the shul will be, after it's going to be built, it will be brought later on when Mashiach will come. It will come to Yerushalayim. So that's another reason why it's called Al Tanai Shul. Now I want to tell you what the Shamish told Rabbi Mindel. And the Rebbe looked her over. The Shamish name was Reb Chaim. He came to New York in 1969. Reb Chaim said that he was the Shamish, the caretaker of the Al Tanai Shul, and twice a year he put in shemis in a big barrel. Shemis means old Sfarim, old tefillin, old tzitzis, straps of tefillin piled up. He put it in a barrel, and he took it on top where the Golem is. The Golem that the Maral made, with the Maral said they should put him in the attic. And you put the shemis on the Golem. He did not see the Golem. He saw shemis, because the Maral said that the Golem should be covered with shemis. So he put shemis on the other shemis. The Golem was in the attic, under the roof. An iron fence was around the Golem. And the custom was instituted by the Maral almost 400 years ago, that shemis should always be on the Golem. The Golem should never be left open. Although, this is a miracle, although many shemis has been piled on the Golem over the centuries, which should be filled up till the roof, because all the centuries the shemis were on the Golem. Strangely enough, did not seem to rise above its usual height. And Reb Chaim said it was amazing. Whenever he went to put the shemis, it stayed on the same level. It didn't pile up high. Amazing. He said, he saw it himself. The last time Reb Chaim carried the shemis to the attic was in 1939, before the Nazis took over Czechoslovakia. Now, during the Second World War, Reb Chaim was taken to labor as a slave to a concentration camp, the Holocaust, and he was by miracle, he survived the Holocaust. As soon as he was freed, he said he wants to go back to Prague to see the Maharal Shul. It's the first place he wanted to go. So he went to the Shul. This is what he was all telling to Rabbi Mindel. He stood outside and said, Thank God that the Nazis did not destroy the oldest shul in Europe. Then he knocked on the door of the caretaker. There was a caretaker, he was a guy, he wasn't Jewish, very nice person. He took care of the garbage and all these other things. So he knocked on the door, and the old caretaker opened the door. He looked at him. He says he was shocked to see him because he saw him healthy. Now after the concentration camp, he was in labor. He had a lot of problems. He was tortured. He was shocked to see the way he is. So Reb Chaim asked the caretaker, "Can you please open the door of the shul? I want to see what's doing in the shul." So he opened the door. He looked. No changes, only two. Except two changes. You know that years ago, the old shuls, and I know I was also in Amsterdam, they have an old shul, that years ago there was no bulbs. So the shamoshim, a shamash used to be a candle on every seat. So before davening, before prayer, Shacharis, Mincha, Mariv, the shamash used to go around and put on the candle by every seat. That's how they had no. So this shul also had, but it was changed. They pulled they had bulbs now instead of candles. That's one change that he saw in the shul. Another change was that the floor was made with cement. Those are the two things that everything else stayed the way it was by the Maharal. The way Reb Chaim saw it before he went to concentration camp. So Reb Chaim asked the caretaker about these changes. So the caretaker told him the Nazis wanted to show the world that they were not bad, that people think that they are. So they made improvement in the shul. They filled up the shul with Jews from the concentration camp, and they ordered the Jews to put on talesim, and they should daven, and they took pictures of the whole scene. That the Germans wanted to impress the world that they were cultured people. They knew to cherish shuls, synagogues. And that's what they did. And that's why they put in the bulb, they put in the cement, the floor, and also bulbs. But Reb Chaim was happy that the Germans did not attempt to do anything else. Everything stayed the same. And Reb Chaim asked the caretaker, "Now tell me what's upstairs by the Golem. What's doing there at the attic?" So the caretaker said to Reb Chaim, "Come with me. I want to show you." The caretaker opened the iron door leading to the stairs, and they went up to the attic where the Golem was. Reb Chaim walked around the attic. Suddenly, he stopped. He stared, he looked, and trembled. His heart filled with awe. He saw a strange object sticking out of the pile of the shemus, covering the resting place of the Golem. It was the handle of a bayonet with part of the blade buried in the pile of the shemus. So Reb Chaim asked the caretaker, "What is this?" So the caretaker answered Reb Chaim, The morning after the Germans occupied Prague, two generals with armed soldiers came to the synagogue. The older general said to me, the caretaker said, "We heard about the legend of the Golem. Is it true that the Golem's resting place is in this attic, in this synagogue?" They asked this caretaker. So the caretaker answered, "It's not a legend." Unbelievable. And he is in the attic. He saw him of the shul. So they said to him, "Please take us up." And the caretaker tried to discourage them, but he couldn't. "Where is the Golem?" they asked. So I pointed to the resting place of the Golem. This is all the Shamish telling Rabbi Mindel. So the generals came close to the fence and were disappointed. "We only see rubbish. We want to see the Golem." The Golem was covered with shemis. So the guy said, the caretaker said, "God forbid, it's not rubbish. It's sacred things worn out by usage. The remain of the Golem buried underneath. Clear the rubbish," they said to the guy. So the caretaker said, "It's clear forbidden to touch it." He knew the orders from the holy rabbi who created the Golem and later laid the Golem to rest. "I cannot desecrate the holy place." So the younger general pulled out a pistol and pointed at the caretaker. "Clear it now." So the caretaker says, "I cannot, I must not," and he pleaded with him. So an older general standing there said to him, to the younger general, "If that's the case, order one of the soldiers to clear the pile." The soldier immediately took out his bayonet and stuck into the pile of the shemis. But right away, next moment, he uttered a piercing scream. He let go of the bayonet and fell backwards and died. This guy. This is what happened. And they were all shaken and they all left. The other two soldiers carried out the body from the attic and ran away. After this, no Germans dared set foot in the attic. This is what Reb Chaim told Rabbi Mindel, and the Rebbe saw this. Now I want to tell you soon what the Rebbe answered about the Golem. Reb Chaim later on, he stayed in America. He never always thought about this whole scene. And his name was Reb Chaim. I remember Reb Chaim years ago. Now, I want to tell you what the Rebbe said. Two things. Number one, I want to say what the Rebbe said about the Golem. And the Rebbe wrote this in Yiddish. I'll have to translate in English. And then I'll tell you what the Rebbe answered, B'ksav Yad Kodshay. Amol ist der Rebbe nicht beseiden. Mit dem Rebbe gewesen in Prag, seine See gewesen in Maral Shul. Hat der Rebbe gewollt aufgehen auf der Aliyah, wo es liegt der Golem. Hat untergekauft im Shamish und genommen a Leiter und a Ruf. Years ago, this was our Rebbe saying, that the Rebbe Nishma the Rebbe Rashab, the previous Rebbe's father, went with the previous Rebbe in Prague. So they were in the Maral Shul. So the previous Rebbe wanted to go up. Of course, probably they didn't let him. So he bribed the Shamish because he wanted to go up to the Golem. And he went up. When the Rebbe or the Tzildemaise, our Rebbe is saying this, when the previous Rebbe said the story, Hobichim gefragt, the Rebbe asked the previous Rebbe, was hat dorten gesehen? What did he see there? Hat mir nicht geantwortet. He didn't answer me. When the Rebbe nicht was saying, hat sich der Funder wusst, when the Rebbe Rashab found out, he didn't know then. Later he found out that his son, the Caretaker Rebbe, went up there. Hat stark ausgerät. He reprimanded the Rebbe. He reprimanded his son, the Caretaker Rebbe. Und in der Zeit später herum hat ihm gesagt, and later on he told him, ich hab gehad chadoshim, was zu tun. I had months what to do. It seems like to fix that nothing should harm you. So you had to work a lot, nothing should harm you. This is what the Rebbe says. Now, there is also, before I get to the other letter from the Rebbe's Ksav Yad, from a Godel, from the Stipler Gaon. And this is an answer for people, from people that don't believe that there is a Golem, and they don't believe that the Golem is in the attic. The Stipler Gaon writes, this is from Hebrew, I'm trusting in English. In a Sefer Chayi Olam, chapter 30, I'm reading from the Hebrew. Rabbi Sadia Gaon explains how one is able to create a Golem based on Sefer Yitzirah. On Sefer Yitzirah, that we know that Avraham Avinu wrote it. This is brought down by the Kol Yehuda and the Kuzari. Maimer 4, Sefer 25. That's number one. Then the Stipler writes, it's also known that the Maharal of Prague created a Golem to save the Jewish people. Then he writes, in the response of Chacham Tzvi, Siman 93, he writes about his grandfather, Rabbi Eliyahu, who created a Golem. And the Yavitz also writes about this Golem, which his great-grandfather created. The Yavitz, Rabbi Yaakov Emden, was the son of the Chacham Tzvi, Rabbi Tzvi Ashkenazi. So we see that people make Golems. So the Stipler writes that, the Gemara, if you look, it says, Rave made a Golem. Now I want to read to you a Ksav Yad. This is a Ksav Yad of the Rebbe. This is in Hebrew, but I want to read to you in English what the Rebbe writes about the Golem. And this is an answer also to people that have doubts. Regarding the book, somebody said the Rebbe book, it's also written in Hebrew. Wonders of the Maharal and the letters which you mentioned, I have not properly read them and will therefore not say an opinion about them. Next paragraph, the Rebbe writes, regarding the matter itself, namely the fact that the Maharal made the Golem, I have personally heard from my father-in-law, the Rebbe, that he has seen the Golem's remains in the attic of the shul of the Maharals of Prague. And he discussed the matter with his father, the Rebbe Rashab. The doubts on the above-mentioned book do not pertain whatsoever to the matter itself, because for tens of years before the publishing of this book, it was common knowledge among Jews that the Maharal made the Golem, and even amongst non-Jews. So people that have doubts should know that the Maharal made the Golem, and the Golem is now, and even Lahavdil Goyim know about the Golem. Now, I was told that in Pelish's Farim, I think maybe the Rebbe said that to say a story of the Baal Shem Tov on B'tzoi Shabbos is a Zgula for Parnasa. So it says it's Farim, Tzadikim say that there are three lav davkas. Not necessarily. There are three lav davka. Lav davka Mitzvah Shabbos. Say a story not only Mitzvah Shabbos, say a story every night. Lav davka from the Baal Shem Tov, from any tzaddik. And lav davka as gula for parnasa, but as gula for all good things. So the Polish Rabbi used to say that the Maharal Miprog, who comes from David HaMelech, and Mitzvah Shabbos, we eat the Suda of David HaMelech, Sudas Malka Meshicha. So when Chai Elul, which is the Yortzeit of the Maharal, like today, like this year, Mitzvah Shabbos, we should say over stories of the Maharal and of the Golem, whatever. And that's a Zgula for children. And somebody mentioned to me, and there is the Polish Farim. I never heard that Rabbi said that, but that's the way Tzadikim used to say. So it would be a good idea, this story that I read today, that the Rebbe saw, would be a good idea to have it again online, Mitzvah Shabbos. Now, one more thing. You know, we're now before Rosh Hashanah for Yom Kippur. The whole world accepts one song. The song Rosh Hashanah. Everybody knows. I mean, I have a problem with my throat now. But, This song was composed by the Maharal. And everyone, all Yidden in the world, sing this song. So it's good to know. It's Yotzat the Maharal. It's good to say this over. Now, I want to say that everybody should have a Ksivach Simateva, a Gesund Yor, a Riches Yom Vishon Tevis, and as the Rebbe always used to say, all the brachas from Aleph to Tov should be Mekuyim, Bimilo. The Rebbe used to say this Erev Yom Kippur. And we should have nachas from our children. Bone, Chaye, Umezeine, Revicha. And as the Rebbe mentioned, I mentioned it a few times. First Bone, first children. It should have been Chaye first, life. But when a person has good children, and he raises good children, and he has nachas, then Chaye, then the Lebim is a Lebim. And Parnasa, if we all have Parnasa, we should all have Parnasa. So we should all have nachas from our children. Hatzlocha, Gesund, Hagefen, Hatzlocha, Gesund, Parnasa, nachas. We should have a good year, Aksivach Simateva. And in Mitzvah Hashem, next week we'll continue our weekly program. Thank you.